Hello and welcome to the Docking Base 77 podcast, YouTube edition. I am one of the hosts, Dayton Johnson. Joining me for another one of our Versus episode is another one of our hosts. It is Tim Brown. How you doing, Tim?
I am doing great.
And he is healthy for you, just like it says
Yes,
right behind him.
very healthy.
For those who are new to the channel or to this particular video, we're doing a Versus episode where we take an original song and compare it to a cover version. This time we are discussing the song Radar Love, originally by the Dutch rock band Golden Earring and covered by American hair metal band White Lion. So, going into this, which one were you more familiar with or spent more time with? And I recently found out there's a bunch of other covers that I did not know existed. So,
I haven't spent any time with the other covers. I would say equally familiar with both. Probably spent more time with the original just because,
okay.
it's older. I was well aware of it before the White Lion version.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, same way. I mean, obviously, growing up listening to rock radio and then classic rock radio, this song was very much a staple in that on those stations for sure. And it was always one of the songs that I liked, I knew. And honestly, the White Lion cover, I was familiar with it on MTV, of course. It got played quite a bit, and I
Right.
did hear it on the radio. But I enjoyed it, but I never really spent any time with it. Like, I never sat down on purpose to listen it until doing this. And I got to say, I think I shorted myself doing that because I really found a lot about the cover to like. So
There's a lot to like. There's some stuff that I prefer the original over,
okay.
but yeah. Well, we can get into that.
I was going to say I'm actually kind of curious about that now. All right,
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, let's jump into some facts about the original. Radar Love appears on the album Moontan, which was the ninth studio album from the band. I'm like, ninth? Man, that was in
Yeah,
'73. And
right.
I had no idea. I'll be honest.
I'm not even aware
No.
of Golden Earring for anything other than this song.
Well, there was the Twilight Zone song they had
Oh,
in
that's right.
the
That's right. Yeah,
'80s.
that was
Yeah,
them too. I forgot
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I know. But the fact that this was in the ninth studio album just kind of I went, what? So sorry, Golden Earring. I had no idea you had a very long career like this. So anyway, the song was the band's first international hit, reaching number 9 on the Record World Chart, number 10 on Cashbox, number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. It also hit the top 10 in the UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, and Spain. So good job, them. The lyrics tell the story of a man that has a psychic connection to his lover. He feels that she needs him home, so he rushes to get home, and in his haste, he causes a fatal accident and dies. But yet, their radar love continues in the afterlife. I got to admit, until I started doing this, I had no idea that's what the song was about. Hey, something's wrong at home. I got to go. And it's the lyrics are really subtle at the end, telling you that he had an accident. So, it's real subtle, but I kind of dig it. The song has been chosen for many lists for the top 10 driving songs, usually end up in the top 3. According to radar-love.net, the song has been covered over 800 times. I
Wow.
consider most of those are probably live versions, but some of the artists of note include Ministry, U2, REM, Def Leppard, King Diamond, and Ghost Dance. It could also be heard on the TV shows The Simpsons, That 70s Show, X-Files, the movies, The Wayne's World 2, Detroit Rock City, The Tender Bar, and Baby Driver, which we just recently did a review on that film. I love that movie. The album version runs 6 minutes and 26 seconds. The single edit runs 5 minutes and 4 seconds. And there was a UK single version that was cut down to 3 minutes and 51 seconds. I'm like,
Wow.
geez, how, that just
Red
sounds,
I love. We're done.
yeah, I know, right? I just don't even understand how that works. So I'm going to have to find that because I'm just like, that's sad. That's
That's
so,
almost as bad as the video edit of Pull Me Under.
yeah, right. Or for one, the radio edit for one, which is just, no, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway. All right, so let's jump into some thoughts about the original song. Tim, thoughts?
I love the original. It's a classic song. I mean, if you listen to rock radio, you probably heard it ad nauseum. But
Yeah.
I mean, when I go back and I do listen to it, I always find myself liking it. It's got a great that kind of great shuffle groove on the drums,
Yeah.
and it just I like it pulls you in.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. I agree. It is a classic, and I love how each section is its own, but every piece fits together and for a good whole experience. The arrangement, number one, how it
Yeah, yeah.
starts off with the guitar, dun, 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 and then you just have the nice, the rhythm section gets a lot of
Yeah.
attention
Oh
in this
yeah,
particular
yeah.
version. You know, the drums and the
And
bass.
it just kind of builds subtly, and they don't like try to overpower you.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a very well constructed arrangement, I think.
Yes, and it's patient too. You know, it
Yes.
when it gets to the chorus, it does kick in, and then it goes back down for the verse, and it's really cool. And then the middle section, very cool. You know,
Hmm.
it's one of those where you're like there's a lot going on. You know, you of course get the the rhythm section to get in, then you get keyboards in there, and you even get a brass section added to
Right.
it. And I'm just like, okay, didn't see that coming, but it all works, and it's really really cool. And then the chorus comes back to the great verse and the chorus. Now,
Right.
the second verse, this is something I noticed for the very first time preparing for this video, was there is a really quiet second vocal track during the second verse. And it's almost like a spoken word version. It's like just really quiet in the back. I'm like,
Hmm.
I never noticed it before until this. I'm like, oh,
Well,
okay.
that's an old recording trick from like the 70s.
Okay.
Was to do like almost like a whisper track behind something.
Yeah, it
And
even
it just
sounds
kind
almost
of just
spoken
an extra
word.
layer to put in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoken, kind of whispered, a different, just kind of a flat thing. It really adds a lot of texture to some of the older recordings.
Yeah, and I just thought it was cool, and obviously it was on purpose because it was only in one verse. But I had never noticed it until listening to it on a good set of headphones. Sometimes makes a difference. Even though it's 1970s production, that's not a bad thing because there's lots of great music from the 70s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The mix is really solid. You know what I mean? You can hear everything nice and clear.
Hmm.
The lyrics, the vocals are there. You can hear what he's saying. You can mention the brass. You can hear that. The keys. The drums are a little quiet for my taste, but but
I can see that. Yeah, yeah. There was something I read a long time ago when I was initially getting into to audio production and trying to learn how to do stuff on my own at home, and they talked about how when things were pressed for vinyl, if your volume was too loud on your track, the grooves on a record make the needle move around.
right.
And if things were too loud, it would actually cause the needle to skip.
Huh.
So you would have to bring your volume down. There were strict guidelines on the range that your volume could be and still be pressed effectively onto vinyl. So a lot of times things sound a little bit quieter when we transferred to digital than they really were. Because
Huh.
obviously when you put the vinyl on your turntable, you've got control of the volume. You can crank it as loud as you want.
Right.
And so, you can make those drums sound as big as you want just by continuing to crank up the volume. But for the recording process, they really had to lower things down just
Huh.
to keep that headroom.
Interesting. Interesting. I didn't was not aware of that too much, but you know,
Yeah, well, you'll notice it now with when you listen to a lot of the older recordings because they had I forget what the agency that oversaw it was, but they had guidelines that they had to follow in the
interesting.
mastering process.
All right. All right. I did mention it briefly, but I do love how with this version, there is definitely a lot of love given to the drums and the bass as far as,
Yes.
they get heard, even though I wish the drums were a little bit louder, but the bass is definitely front and center more than the guitar, which,
Yes.
is kind of
Yes.
unusual for 70s rock. So
This is true.
I,
Yeah.
I give them kind of some credit for that for sure.
Yeah.
But
Although there are a lot of examples of things that really kind of let that bass groove take over.
true,
Yeah, I mean, think
true.
about another one bites the dust.
That's very true. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
name another song from them that does that. I'm just saying. Every once in a while they do it. Yes.
Right.
All right. Anything else you want to mention on the original before we move?
No, I think we're ready to move on there. I've got my things that I like better about the original, but I'm going to wait until we
All
talk
right.
about the cover.
All right. Okay. So the cover for Radar Love by White Lion appears on their album Big Game from 1989. It was the second single off that album. It did reach number 59 on the Billboard Hot 100, entering the chart for the first time since the original did back in 1973. So before we go on, I'm going to connect this versus video to the last one we did when we discussed Ride the Lightning for Metallica, of course, did the original, and recently Megadeth covered it. So there is one musician that appears on both of these songs. Tim, do you know who that is?
Was it Dave?
Nope.
No.
I mean, he has writing credits on Ride the Lightning, but he didn't play on this cover.
Oh, I don't know who that is then.
All
I
right,
didn't pay
so
enough attention to the Megadeth version.
all right, so when it comes to White Lion, the bass player is James Lomenzo, who played with White Lion at this time. He's currently the bass player for Megadeth. So
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking I was totally not following what
that's
you were trying
okay.
to get at there.
that's okay.
I didn't know the answer in either case, but
Okay,
I was
well.
totally trying to think of Metallica and Megadeth. I'm going, well, who's the only person that was in both bands? That's Dave.
Sorry. No, I was just trying to connect it to this song.
Oh,
But yes,
gotcha.
but yes. So we've actually discussed two songs with James Lomenzo in the last couple of episodes. So there you go.
Gotcha. All right.
That's fun. All right, so let's jump into thoughts on the cover version. Tim, you go first.
White Lion, they got a lot of bashing back in the late 80s for being just another one of the pretty boy kind of generic hair metal bands. I think a bit unfairly, they
I
kind of
agree.
fall into a similar category for me as Winger does.
Right. Okay.
Where they
Yep.
kind of got some backlash that I don't think was necessarily deserved. Winger, obviously, with the Beavis and Butthead bashing that I don't think was ever deserved for them.
Agreed.
And White Lion, just because I'm blanking
Mike
on
Tramp.
the singer's name. Mike Tramp, yeah.
Yep.
He was a pretty boy, and I think people kind of stopped at that and just another pretty boy hair metal band, and they didn't really look deeper. But obviously with White Lion, you've got Vito Bratta over there on guitar, who
Yes.
was one of the underrated heroes of the era.
Yes. Agreed.
A guy that got compared a lot to Eddie Van Halen, and I think in a bad way, people tried to call him a clone, but he
Yeah. I don't.
spoke to Eddie, and they actually neither one of them saw it. He really had his own style, and
Yes.
it was a very identifiable sound, and he was really just a top-notch, top 10 kind of player.
Agreed. Agreed. And so with that, so at a cursory glance, this song would feel like just a straightforward cover.
Right.
It is not. They
Yeah,
changed
they
enough.
definitely changed the arrangement up. Definitely.
Yes, and they let Vito Bratta be Vito.
Right.
I mean, and which you should absolutely let him do.
Yes.
And it's funny too because you mentioned White Lion getting the harsh that they did, and I agree. It's not fair, especially if you actually dive into the lyrics from their songs. There's actually quite a few heavyweight songs in there. They're not just all these songs that a lot of the hair metal bands did, like Partying and Girls or whatever.
Right.
There's some really in-depth stuff, and it didn't fit with that idea. And, yes, Mike Tramp was pretty, but there was a lot going on in this band. And, I will honestly admit I missed it the first time around. But, you got to give credit where credit's due. And the band was talented. And I think you can hear it in their cover. The framework of the original is there. The bass is a little bit subdued, but you let Vito be Vito. And I think that works. I think that works a lot.
For the most part, I agree there. Yeah, I think it works. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm curious, what did the original do better than the cover? So what don't you like about the cover? I guess
All right, the two things and it's not that I don't really like them. It's that I prefer the original to it.
Okay.
And it's in the verses, and it's not a bash on Vito by any stretch. The extra fills and licks that he puts in, and of course his solo are amazing. I do kind of wish in the verses he laid back a little bit more
Hmm.
and let
Okay.
the drums and bass just kind of groove similar to the original, because I think just that kind of almost hypnotic kind of boom 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 boom,
Okay. I get you.
just kind of that groove just sucks you in. You get your headphones on and you just kind of relax into that song. And I think some places it kind of feels like maybe they're trying a little bit too hard to, hey, look how well we play.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah. I can
but
see that.
I mean, obviously they've got the skills to back it up, so there's no reason to knock them there. I just wish arrangement wise he would have held back a little bit in some places.
See, I kind of look at it the other way. There's because you can hear some of his licks are the same as the original, and then there's some where he kind of does his own thing. And I think that is fair enough, and I like it. I don't disagree that, I do kind of miss, some of the bass, but at the same time, when you have somebody like this that can basically make his guitar talk, make it, it seems like almost a waste to not let him play. So I see your point, but I guess I just don't agree. I guess I want to hear more Vito. I mean,
Which is fine because I mean he's a great player. I love listening to him.
yeah,
Now when I do go back and listen to White Line, I'm a lot more drawn in by his playing than I was even back then, and I loved him back then.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it just this particular song, I feel like it kind of borders on overplaying. But
Interesting.
the
Okay.
stuff he does is great. I just, like I said, I wish they'd kind of let that bass and drum line breathe a little bit more during the verses on this one.
Okay. All right. I do like the fact that they didn't bother with having any keyboards or horns this time. They just kind of they just kind of gave us the four basic food groups from a rock song. So
Yeah.
I kind of
Well, and
appreciate.
again, to your point, you've got Vito Bratta. Do you need all that extra stuff?
No, not really. Not really.
Right.
And and that's the thing, I might be tipping my hand here, but it's like I like there's a couple subtle lyric changes. Like they say, we don't need like in the first one, we don't need a phone. He says we don't need to talk. It's like there's middle minor ones, which I'm like, whatever, but not that big of a deal. But I will
Mhm.
say it's 20 seconds shorter, and I think it's because when they go into the middle section, like call it the breakdown or whatever, they kind of fast forward past where the bass was before, and they just kind of get right into the guitar. That's fine.
They kind of
Apparently
get
not
right
with
into
you.
that, and also their version is a hair faster too.
Yes, it is. That's another thing about the Ride the Lightning cover. Megadeth is a little bit faster than the original one too. So funny. Maybe it's James Lomenzo. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, so but for me, I'm just kind of like as I was going back and forth between the two songs, you know, this is one of those situations where you got a better singer, better guitar player, better drummer, and I'm just like, and you kind of like, oh yeah, I maybe they did it
Now,
better.
see, here's where I kind of disagree with you. My other point in favor
Okay,
of the original, I'm not saying that White Lion's drummer is bad by any stretch of the imagination. He is a fantastic drummer. I prefer the original. I prefer everything about the
really?
drums in the original to this
Oh
version.
no, I preferred the
That
drum
groove,
solo in this one.
that little shuffle feel, man, I like it so much better.
Interesting. All
I mean,
right.
I can give you the recording and everything is crisper and
Well,
better
that's
mixed.
time.
Yeah, but I prefer the drums in the original to this one.
All right. Okay. Well, I gotta admit, I'm a little surprised at that, but all right. Okay. Well, then I guess let's just jump into our decision here, our final judgment on which one do you prefer? Which one are you gonna pick? I guess, for me, every once in a while, a cover does it better, and I kind of think the White Lion did it better for me. So
Okay, okay. It's it's a really, really close call because
it
I agree
is.
that White
It
Lion
is.
did a really good job with this one, but I kind of still got to go with the original just by a
All
hair.
right.
I mean,
Okay.
if the cover didn't have Vito Bratta, then the original would have won by a mile. But Vito closes that gap real damn close.
And I gotta admit, going into this, when we first put this on the list, I thought, oh, I'm gonna pick the original, but after sitting here and listening to it, I'm like, you know what? They turned my ears. So I just
Yeah, when
appreciate
I
it.
went back and listened, I did remember. I honestly thought I was like you. I was going to go with the original, and I did end up going with it. But I thought it was going to be a much clearer decision for me.
Right.
But the White Lion version is really good.
Yeah, it is really good. I just kind of think they did everything a little bit better. So,
Yeah, I
which
mean, Vito. You got a better guitar player. You do have a better singer. For me, honestly, the deciding factor is the drums, and I just like the original a little bit better. I like
wow.
the shuffle feel. I like the breakdown, the boom, boom, boom. That
Right.
break in the middle. That's got such a great groove to it, and they kind of skip over that in the White Lion version.
All right. Well, all right. Like I said, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. That I'm surprised we split. I thought it was going to be one way, and
Like I said, it's
it's
a close
close.
call
Yeah,
for me. It's
it
very
is.
close, but yeah,
It's close. Yeah,
drums by a nose.
I know. Not a stick. No, just kidding. Well, boo, bad Dayton. Okay. Anyway, so let us know your thoughts on these two songs, the original and the cover. I will drop links for both the versions into the show notes so you guys can take a listen. Let us know which one of us was right, which one of us got it wrong, and your thoughts in general on those particular songs. Like all the YouTubers say, please like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe so you make sure to see all of our videos when we drop one every Friday. I also do drop shorts throughout the week whenever I have time to make one. And we just love to hear from you. If there is a particular song you want us to cover, not cover, but you know what I mean, discuss. Wah, wah. Let us know, drop it in the comments, and we will get to it. We have a very long list of ones on the list already, but we are working our way through them. If you're digging the videos, check out our regular audio stream, which is available both here on YouTube, YouTube Music, or on your favorite platform. And if you are looking for even more content from us, you just can't get enough, we do have a Patreon. Hop on over there for as little as $1 a month. You can get exclusive content. Plus, we have swag now, so you can get, get your nice cup there, right there, as well as some stickers for, in case you want to decorate your cups, because I know I have plenty all over my stuff as well. But anyway, so hop on over there, see what's over. Sign up for a 7-day free trial and check it out anyway. So I want to thank Tim for spending time with me and discussing the song. So thank you, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
And look forward to more top sevens and more versus videos coming your way. And as always, thank you very much for watching.